It usually takes a lot of convincing to get somebody to give you a minute of their time, as the value of this precious commodity is directly proportioned to money. This task, however, hasn't proven itself Sisyphean for filmmakers, as they tend to have an ace up their sleeves in the form of opening credits. Hello, film fanatics and lovers alike, and welcome to the premiere video of The Audience Chair, a channel dedicated to bringing the wonderful realm of movies to you. If you feel like these topics are your particular cup of tea, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. In today's video, we are going to be directing our attention towards the first few minutes of a film, particularly the opening credits. We are going to look at some of the opening credits that immediately had a chokehold on us, whilst ranking them accordingly. So without wasting any time, let's get right into it. Number 10, Raging Bull. After bouncing back from a deadly blow addiction that had acclaimed director Martin Scorsese in a fatal chess match against death, he and Robert De Niro set out to the sandy beaches of St. Martin to write a script titled Raging Bull. With his new lease on life, he was able to adapt the script into a feature-length biopic on the life of the hard-boiled boxer, Jake LaMotta. He then cast Robert De Niro, who was also the man who helped him reprieve his premature meeting with death, in the physically demanding leading role. Being his first movie after a triumphant victory against the spirit of La Mort, it was only right for him to channel his inner champion through this character right from the get-go. Shot in glorious black and white, the opening credits beautifully capture LaMotta shadowboxing in a vacant ring while all eyes from the public are on him. Marty's stellar choice of marrying this scene with Pietro Mascagani's timeless piece titled Cavalleria Rusticana completely transforms LaMotta's violent jabs into an artistry dance that in turn invites us as the audience to channel our inner champions with him. Number 9, the James Bond franchise.
Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
With over 26 movies, each with a unique and well-thought-out opening credit sequence under its belt, it's safe to say that no one raises the curtain quite like the man with the license to kill. But similar to a sack full of diamonds, there are those special gems that shine just a little bit brighter than the rest, and those are the ones that we are going to acknowledge here today.
Touch it, stroke it, and undress it. I can see.
On par with the topic of gems, this 2006 New Age reboot to the franchise kicks off our list. The opening credits to Casino Royale acted as a sort of blueprint to future 007 opening credits, as it elevated the animated sequences while also keeping the tradition of marrying these sequences with top-shelf vocals from internationally renowned vocalists. The second gem on our list might be argued as a case of recency bias, but I highly doubt that anyone is immune to Adele's charming vocals on Sam Mendes' first go at the legendary Spy with Skyfall. Even though new brooms sweep best, they still face quite a challenge trying to replicate the magic that some of the oldies have had us under since time immemorial. It might be Shirley Bassey's hypnotic vocals or the gold-painted canvas that was Margaret Nolan's curvaceous body. But something about the title credits of Sir Sean Connery's third crack at the spy have had us in a trance for over half a century, thus securing this tier position on our list. Number 8. Jackie Brown.
110th Street. Pimps trying to catch a woman that's sweet.
Quentin Tarantino has never shied away from sharing his admiration of the classical movies that got him into directing. One of the ways he does this is by paying homage to these classics in his films. His 1997 film Jackie Brown is chock full of homages from the get-go. His opening title sequence for the film is reminiscent to that of Mike Nichols' The Graduate, but instead with a funky groove twist to it.
Across 110th Street. Pimps trying to catch a woman that's sweet.
Number 7. The 1963 Pink Panther. Yes, the title sequence that spawned an entire franchise. In 1963, director Blake Edwards commissioned former Warner Brothers cartoon director Friz Freleng and David DePatie to design an animated character for the title sequence of his movie, Pink Panther. They came up with the now famous Pink Panther character design and created a whole sequence of about 7 minutes centered around the character. Henry Mancini's jazz composition titled The Pink Panther Theme was then married to the sequence, and what came out from the collaboration was pure movie magic. This title sequence was a standout in the film. It would then go on to make movie history, as it was the first and only time an animated character from a title sequence would go on to become more popular than its correspondent film, while also spawning a successful franchise of movies and TV shows based on the character alone. The movie opened the doors for more complex and well-thought-out opening credits, as the ones that came before were just simple and honestly lazy. Number 6, 7. Given the cult-like fan base and the numerous accolades he has garnered for himself over the years, it's safe to say that David Fincher's movies have a certain je ne sais quoi to them that hook you from start to finish. Brilliant use of color and graphic choreographed sequences aren't the only common denominators to his genius, as he also incorporates well-edited freaky-ass opening credits at the very start of his films. So, what is our number 1 pick for the best in a catalog filled with nothing but greats? For this gamble, we are willing to parlay all our money on his 1995 thriller, Seven. Without a second thought of doubt, John Doe is one of the most vile and evil serial killers ever put to screen. Even though we don't see him carry out his heinous crimes, the details on how he did it are so grotesque that it had even the most stone-cold viewers clutching onto their imaginary pearls while rethinking their lifestyle choices. And to make sure that this point hit home, Fincher edited the opening credits with clips of the extreme graphic torture that John Doe put himself through, all under the guise of prepping himself for this nut job mission. Number 5. Enter the Void. Argentine director Gaspar Noé's films have been subject to backlash due to the extremely explicit and controversial themes explored throughout his stories. His cinematography technique has also received a lot of criticism due to his frequent and extended use of flashing lights that pose a great risk to the audience. But that still doesn't take away the fact that this bold technique has given you some of the best and most unsettling visuals in cinema. His 2009 film Enter the Void deploys this technique at the very start of the film. The title credits roll in fast and heavy, with each title being of different fonts and colors, all while in sync to some fast-paced techno music by LFO. All this immerses the viewer in a sense of uneasiness, and also serves as a warning to the viewer that the ride they are about to embark on is going to be anything but steady. Number 4, Catch Me If You Can. When playing the con game, certain sacrifices such as foregoing certain emotions like fear have to be made. Only when this is achieved that the sky is the limit to the absurd level of stakes a con man is willing to wager his life on. Since time immemorial, history has been riddled with such daredevils whose tales of the wild lengths and antics they went through to achieve the so-called American dream have captivated and seduced the public and most notably filmmakers. One of the most important and prolific filmmakers of our time, Steven Spielberg, was easily susceptible to this notion. The suave that was the rise and inevitable fall of high-stakes con man Frank Abagnale Jr. captivated and compelled the filmmaker to produce and direct a biopic based on the aforementioned character's life in crime. Given that the cons that he had claimed to pull off play out like something straight out of a cartoon, Spielberg commissioned French graphic designers Olivier Kunsel and Florence Degas to design animated sequences of these grifts for the opening title credits. Taking inspiration from Saul Bass's early work from the 60s while accompanying it to an unctuous score from John Williams. The title credits transport us back to the middle of the 20th century, where Frank honed and put to use his skills. Number 3, Lord of War. Oriented point of view, shot of a bullet. We see the bullet's conception from a Soviet Union ammunition factory, whereby upon maturity it's shipped off overseas to a war zone in Africa. It is eventually loaded into a rifle and launched directly into the head of a young militia boy. The sequence is as beautiful as it is haunting. Buffalo Springfield's protest song, For What It's Worth, accompanies this entire scene, and the irony isn't lost to Released all the way back in 1966. It's not hyperbole to say everything about this spaghetti western today is considered downright classic. Everything from the director and the cast to the composer and the soundtrack is considered iconic in their own right. The original Italian title sequence images were done by Ignio Lardani, who never revealed the methods he used to create these images. The sequence was then married to Ennio Morricone's iconic The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme, a theme that would go on to become one of the most iconic themes in film history. It has been used in numerous TV shows and movies, usually to convey that Western cowboy feeling, which is the whole setting of the movie. For the apex spot on our list, we found it suitable to preserve this spot as a tribute to the very best of the best when it comes to perfecting the art of the opening credits. Yes, we are talking about the genius that was the revolutionary work of the legendary Saul Bass. I mean, come on, the man had the world of graphic design in Hollywood in a chokehold for over 40 years. From sending shockwaves through the industry with his work on Otto Preminger's The Man with the Golden Arm, to his collaboration with the master of suspense on his films, North by Northwest, Vertigo, and Psycho. Bass would clearly establish himself as a rare talent and a rebel against the mediocre and conventional approach to the title credits. Like a magnet, his ability to capture the essence and soul of a film with simple yet creative designs would only draw more and more established filmmakers to him. Masters of cinema like Stanley Kubrick and Billy Wilder sought after him for their pictures, and this would only increase the demand for his talent that would eventually overflow to the next generation of filmmakers. Juggernauts of the new age of Hollywood like Martin Scorsese would enlist his services on a number of their films, until Bass's final days, with his final work being on the latter director's flamboyant crime epic Casino. So, for which Saul Bass design do we bestow upon this humble yet high honor? Honestly, all of them, because a talent as rare as Bass's should not be classified and should rather be celebrated. And so with that, we come to the conclusion of our premiere video with our #1 spot going to every Saul Bass opening credit design.